Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Appello. George Connor, my partner in crime over here. We haven't seen you guys since last year.
Oh! This is going to be our best show of the year.
That's right.
Oh! We can keep going.
All right. NFL.
Joe, how was your holiday?
Not bad.
Good time?
Not bad.
Yeah?
Not bad. Yep.
Yeah, we did our last show before Christmas.
I'm OD'd on football. I think I watched every college game, every bowl game. So obviously, I have some issues. I have no life. I don't know what the heck's wrong with me. Watch all the games. But again, I watched Georgia last night, and I was like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. I could.
Yeah, Georgia came out flat.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it kind of makes the case that maybe 4 teams in the playoff is enough based on that.
Yeah.
But I still think, well, we've talked about it before, we'll talk about it again, but I think it's going to go to 8 teams sooner rather than later.
I guess the bottom line when you look at that is, okay, Alabama's playing Clemson next Monday for the championship.
Yep.
Are they the 2 best teams in football? Absolutely.
Yeah.
College football. So they got it right in that respect.
Yep.
They got the 2 best teams are playing for the championship.
Yeah. Notre Dame getting absolutely destroyed.
They had no business being in it. We said it before.
Yeah. Does say that, okay, maybe Ohio State or Georgia belonged in there.
I would have been, if I'm Clemson, I would have been much more fearful of Ohio State or Clemson as opposed to Notre Dame.
Absolutely. And Alabama the same way. I mean, Alabama to Notre Dame is, who cares, whatever.
And Alabama came out and just started destroying Oklahoma, and then looked like Saban kind of took his foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
And let them back in the game, but they survived. They were kind of in control the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, the final score doesn't quite explain it quite the way.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there was both of those games, and we said it, in a week before the show.
We called it.
We called it.
Oh,
we called it. I'm 100%.
Yeah. How smart are we?
Neither of those games were a contest.
Yeah. Now they play Monday, like I said, Clemson is a 6-point underdog. Mm-hmm. Might be lower by game time. What do you think about that game?
Not talking on the spread, I still think Alabama wins it, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it'll be worth watching right to the end.
Close game, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah.
2 very good teams. Clemson's got the firepower to score with them.
Right.
And I think Alabama wins, but I think it's, like I say, I think it's going to be worth staying up.
So you're saying
staying up past my bedtime.
You're saying take the points.
I'm not saying that.
For entertainment purposes only.
I am not saying that.
The only negative thing I have to say about Saban is, like, it looks like he's sometimes so wound so tight that he can't enjoy it. Whereas Dabo Swinney is like the dad, the Papa Bear, kind of loves his kids unconditionally, which I'm sure Saban does too, but it's a different way they represent themselves.
Nick Saban's, he's very much a CEO.
Yeah.
He's in a good way, I think, doesn't get overexcited on the situation and things like that. Not in a Todd Bowles way of not getting excited. That's the difference. We'll talk about that later.
He was going pretty crazy on the sidelines a couple times. In the Oklahoma game, throwing his stuff down and yelling and screaming at the kids. It's funny because he yells and screams at the players. They just kind of walk right by.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever.
It's right. The word in the clubhouse is just don't look him in the eye. Just keep moving.
Keep on walking, talk to somebody else. But Dabo Swinney is just he brings a family mentality to the Clemson program.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
And everybody's talking about Dexter Lawrence, how they're going to miss him. They wouldn't miss him 1 minute. I said that from the beginning. The guy is, he's an NFL first-round draft pick, but they got 5 other guys that can play that spot. It's not like, you lose a guy that's the only person you have, or the best player at that position by far. It's not the case in Clemson. One of their philosophies is to store up that defensive line. They got 8 or 9 defensive linemen that they rotate in and out, and that's the strength of their team, and that's what losing Dexter Lawrence didn't do anything to them. I think the whole question for Clemson is Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback, no relation. He looks like he's never wowed by the moment. He's cool, calm, and collected. Guy's a physical specimen. He's 6'6", over 200 pounds. They projected to be a number 1 draft pick in 2 years because he's a true freshman right now. He's always been a great player, and he got that laid back attitude. But same thing with Tua. Tua is very religious and laid back, and they don't get overwhelmed by the moment.
Right.
Which I guess at that level you can't get overwhelmed because you're gonna get buried.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be a great game. I think the 2 best teams have won, deserve to be there. Now, it's funny because they're both be playing, I think, their 15th game. Mm-hmm. So they have a chance to be 15-0, which is I think the only second time in history.
Yeah, because you got 12, then you got the conference championship, and then two more.
And then the semis and then the finals. Yeah. So I think they get a chance to be 15-0 at both teams.
Yeah.
People forget about the guy ATN, the running back from Clemson, is a very, very good player. He's only a sophomore, and that guy can scoot. Tough game, good matchup, and tough to pick. But I mean, I think both teams are evenly matched, and with Clemson's got a good shot as any to beat them. I think they have the only shot really to beat them.
Yeah.
There also was about 1 million bowl games on TV. I guess, like we just said, Georgia.
1 million less one because they started one.
That was crazy.
I don't know if it's the first time it ever happened, but the first responder bowl
was Boise State against
Boston College.
Boston College.
Boston College was winning like 7-0 with 5 minutes to go or something.
First time it's ever happened. Lightning
came in and that was it.
That was it.
So you feel bad for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of those guys might go pro from either team. Now, it's an exciting thing to go to a bowl game.
How do you feel about prospective NFL top draft choices sitting out their bowl games? How do you feel about that?
Personally, I hate it.
Okay.
Why? I mean, I understand the athletes, the student athlete at that point. They're still student athletes. I understand their perspective. I'm ready. I've proven myself. I've got the resume to go in the first or second round of the NFL draft coming up in a few months. The worst thing the last thing you want to do is get hurt.
Yep.
But to me, you've been with this team for 2, 3, in some cases 4 years.
4 or 5 years, maybe sometimes.
5 years, rare,
sometimes,
but it does happen. To kind of bail on them at the last second, it kind of stinks. And it's a different situation, but I also don't like the fact that there's not as many this year, but there's oftentimes where the head coach will leave.
Yeah.
And not coach the bowl game.
Yeah, the coordinator will go somewhere. Or the coordinator will coach the last game.
It is still a team game.
Yeah.
And at the college level, you're never going to have that again.
Yeah.
These guys, okay, they're going to get drafted. They're going to play on an NFL team. But the camaraderie, the actual team mentality of college is never going to be replicated in their lives, and they're missing their last opportunity.
I think one of the things too is like a lot of these guys will say, okay, because I don't want to get hurt, but also they don't want to hurt their draft status. They feel they're peaked out. Right now they're good at the top of their game. If they go in and have a clunker game, bad game, they could lose millions of dollars.
And if I'm looking at a young Joe Appello who's in college, and I'm thinking, okay, he's got all the skills, this, that, and the other thing, but your attitude is, I don't want to risk looking bad.
Right.
Do I want to draft you? That's not the mentality that I'm looking for.
In a perfect world, I agree with that.
Yeah.
The other thing too is like I'll give you an example. Jalen Smith of the Cowboys now, to play for Notre Dame, blew out his knee. I don't know if it was a bowl game or second to last game of his junior year where he was about to get drafted.
Yeah.
And he lost millions of dollars because he was drafted, but not as high as he would have been if he was healthy.
Right, so you don't get the automatic guarantees.
Right, but the thing is that they said he was insured. Now, he was insured for $700,000, which he got with the injury. But if he wasn't hurt and got drafted like he normally would have, he would have got millions of dollars.
Right.
So, one guy said, well, they could be insured. Yeah, but I mean, you do get compensated for it, but not like you would.
Yeah, you're not going to take out a $20 million insurance policy.
Right.
And as scary as that sounds, if you're drafted in the first round and instead of that you get the $20 million, you're still taking a loss because over the course of say 2 contracts, you're going to make.
Well, Smith was fortunate because the Cowboys still drafted him and they hung with him for a year and they paid for his rehab and all his medical things. Now, what other teams might not take that chance. They felt that he was that good of a player that and
I wonder if I don't know, but maybe sometime we'll have an insurance agent on as a guest speaker. But so he has a $700,000 policy because he got injured. But if he still plays in the NFL, does he owe that money back to the insurance company? Did they pay it out? I
would say probably no because he lost a year and a half of work.
Yeah.
So I mean, otherwise, why would you get it?
Anthony Kim, who used to be a big name on the PGA Tour, had a similar policy to that, and hasn't played in any professional events now in 3, 4, 5 years. He was one of Nike's big poster boys. Second obviously.
He had insurance policy.
Had an insurance policy in case he got hurt. If he plays in one PGA Tour event, he violates that contract. And I think it was like $3, $4, $5 million.
So he got hurt.
He got hurt.
How did he get hurt?
I don't even know what the details are. There's a lot of speculation that he's not hurt.
Okay.
So, hey,
That's the other thing.
Yeah. My doctor says I have this, so that's the end of that. Not making any accusations. But,
right. Well, that's always a tough. I mean, I saw one stat too. I think there were 30 guys of high draft quality in college that did not play in their bowl games. Now, one announcer said, well, he thinks that number will just keep on going, rising until they figure a solution if there is one. They predict next year 40 to 45 guys that are going to be out, that aren't going to play.
Yeah.
Then you get a guy like, I saw Ryan Finley, NC State, play at quarterback, and he got destroyed, and he looked terrible. And another guy, Kyle Shermer, who is Pat Shermer's son, played for Vanderbilt, and he looked terrible. And he's a 4-year starter and broke every record at Vanderbilt that Jay Cutler had, who was an NFL player, obviously. So, you know, I'm looking at Shermer, you know, just I haven't seen him play all years, and he looked like, didn't look NFL to me. And neither did Ryan Finley. You know, Finley's been in college 6 years. He got 3 degrees, this guy. He started at Boise State, and now he graduated NC State with a degree, a master's, and some kind of safety certification. So there's a perfect example. He did the right thing by getting all his degrees, 6 years. But as far as a draft, you know, it looks like a average quarterback to me, but then again, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell. Then you got a guy like Justin Herbert of Oregon that came back, decided not to come back, decided to come back and play for Oregon his senior year, and they protected him as maybe the top quarterback in the draft, and he didn't do much against Michigan State. They won 7-6. I mean, that was you know. So I mean, how do you pick? How do you judge it? What's the right answer? I don't think there is a right answer. I think it's all individual. I think it's all about which you think you're going to do. What people are telling you, you know, you're going to be first or second draft round and X amount of money, and is it worth the risk? And then when you look at your teammates, they're probably like, the heck with you guys, I'm going to be a millionaire. So, I mean, you can really understand, it basically is a business decision.
It is. And in some ways, too, depending on the level of the player. And right now, it doesn't seem that it's like the guy, you know, like a Baker Mayfield didn't sit out, or, you know, stuff like that. But for the fans, too, you know, there was, you know, in baseball, there's always that kind of controversy, if you will, if you got to rest guys during the season. You know, if you rest them when you're on the road. And so, you know, back in the day, the Yankees go to wherever. Maybe say it's an interleague game. And so the Yankees are in, I don't know, Colorado. And they decide they're going to rest Jeter. Well, you know, there's these people out in Colorado. There's their only chance to see Jeter in person, and you take that away from them. You know, so there's that too. But like you said, it's a business decision, and these athletes student athletes are in charge of their future.
Well, it's also interesting at the college level. Like, these guys will leave college after football season, degree or no degree. I don't think it really matters to them that much, and then go to these academies to get ready for the combines. Because how they perform in the combine is another factor of how much money they get signed.
And then there's players that sit at the combines too, or refuse to go to combines, refuse to get worked out by certain teams, prospective draftees.
They do drills specific to doing well at the combine, so their numbers are escalated, and they move up the draft. They move up the draft line. I mean, it's, again, same thing as a business decision that they, you know, they have that potential to make it. Now, there's no guarantee you're going to make it if you go to one of these IMG schools or one of these places. But, and a lot of these guys nowadays have quarterbacks have a quarterback coach or a throwing coach, and they try to fix the mechanics and stuff. There is no answer to that. I mean, the only thing I could constantly say, Bill Parcells just say, a college quarterback should have 30 to 40 starts before he gets drafted, at least 30 starts. And that's a pretty good test.
Good enough sample. And also, you can watch a progression there, too. You know, you look at his 25th start versus his 5th start. Okay, what has he learned? What has he gained? Is he handling the situations better? Things like that. You know, so you can kind of get a sense from there. Is the guy? Is he peaked out?
What has he seen? What he hasn't seen?
Or is he? You know, is he adaptable? Can he adjust the situations?
And it's funny. Some of these guys have the intangibles like the size. They got 6'5", 6'6". There was one guy that quarterbacked. One of the Bulls. This guy was 6'7", 250. I forget what college team that was, but he couldn't throw the ball really to save his life, and he didn't really run that much. But he was bigger than his lineman. So
he couldn't run very much, and he couldn't throw the ball very well.
What
was he doing?
He could throw okay sometimes, but mechanics are tough when you're that big, you know. But that was I forget what that team that was. But anyway, Yeah, some of these guys that have the sexy stats like 6'6", 220, or or Kyler Murray who's 5'9", maybe 5'9", 5'10", and he's a great quarterback, but he's small. So how do you weigh that as far as who you want for your team, who to draft? As far as I'm concerned, there's no really franchise quarterback coming out next year. Maybe Haskins from Ohio State, and he hasn't declared yet either way.
Right.
So he might not even come out.
Now, given that there's obviously teams with needs for quarterback, and it's a quarterback weak draft, might be in his best interest to come out.
Yeah, you can look either way.
He might be a New York Giant.
Yeah.
If he wants to do that.
Yeah, the Jets are looking at. The Jets aren't looking at him, but I mean, who's it? Yeah,
No, Jets don't need a quarterback.
Giants are looking at him. Yeah,
Giants obviously need a quarterback. I think whether it's draft him now and he plays next year, or draft him now, let him hold a clipboard for a year or two.
They say Bartles is out of Jacksonville. Maybe Eli goes on and play with Tom Coughlin over there.
Yeah. Little reunion.
And then the Jags had a situation where they had Leonard Fournette and one of the other guys were on the bench fooling around, and Tom Coughlin said that they're unprofessional and not deserving of playing in the NFL.
Yeah, that doesn't wash with Coughlin.
They're going to be gone.
Yeah.
There's no question they're going to be gone. He came out publicly and said that.
Yeah.
So.
Before we get too heavy into the NFL, we had talked about this earlier today. The UCF, with a chance, they had 25 straight wins.
Yep.
Here's their chance to go undefeated and unrecognized.
Right.
Their own national championship.
Yep.
Played LSU pretty tough.
Yep.
Lost by 8.
Yep.
Winning streak's over. My take on it, though, and I'd mentioned this to you, they did not represent themselves well at all.
Right.
They looked like a bunch of thugs.
Yeah.
They pancaked the quarterback, which was a legal hit, but then the guys leaning over the quarterback in his face, rough.
Yeah.
Just didn't come off looking like. I'm sure 5 years down the road they'll look back and say, we could have handled that better. But the unofficial national championship to UCF is not going to happen.
I think their mentality there was trying to match the physicality of LSU.
Yeah.
But LSU had like 8 guys sitting out, their potential draft choices.
Yeah.
And they also had they were decimated in the defensive backfield.
Right.
And they had guys open all day long, running free in the backfield. But the quarterback Mac for UCF just couldn't get him the ball. That's where they really missed Mackenzie Milton.
Yeah.
Who was a quarterback that was hurt.
Yeah.
And he's deadly accurate, and I think it would have been a different outcome maybe, because he's not going to miss those guys. There were guys that go wide open that he overthrew and made some bad decisions. But LSU was right for the taking there. They were right for the taking, and UCF couldn't do it. I mean, 25 games in a row. I mean, that's no matter what level that is.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
that's crazy.
Amazing achievement. But they played tough though. They played hard.
Yeah.
There's a couple other good bowl games.
They're all good.
Penn State got beat by Kentucky. That was a decent game.
Yeah.
That was a decent game.
That was the Citrus Bowl early yesterday. Yeah. Early. We're taping this on January 2nd.
Yeah. New Year. All right.
Ohio State. Urban Meyer goes out with a victory, one more victory, and
he held on there. They were in total control, and then Washington kept fighting and coming back, and ended up holding on 28-23. They looked, Ohio State. I mean, and then Urban Meyer's after the game, the reporter asked him if he's going to coach again. He says, I think I just coached my last game. So
I think so.
I think
because again, there was certainly some controversy this year, but at the end of the day, he's got a health issue that's going on. He's got nothing left to prove.
Yeah.
He's never going to be Nick Saban, but he's maybe one step below there. He won in multiple places.
I think he comes back to coach at the pro level in 2 years.
Really?
My prediction, yeah.
Write that down.
I think with a lot of these guys like Myers, and he's kind of a younger guy, is that they can't handle regular life.
Yeah.
Go home. Like, kids are probably older.
Yeah.
I know he's teaching a couple courses at Ohio State now. I mean, that's one thing, but I just think the ego and the adrenaline rush of games and practices and camaraderie, all that stuff is so enticing that it's just hard to give that up if you really don't have to. If the doctor said, "You're done," you're gonna have your brain's in a blow up if you, tumors will fly out of your head. I mean, that'd be one thing, but it wouldn't surprise me.
And I hear you, and I agree. And I think a lot of coaches stay around for that. Coughlin being the prime example. But there's a lot of grind to that position as well.
Sure is.
I mean, okay, during the football season, it's 80 hours, 90 hours a week. You're sleeping in the office because you're looking at film and this and that. But it doesn't end there. You hear about this all the time. The guy coaches the bowl game. Maybe flies home with the team. Maybe doesn't. Maybe
goes recruiting.
He goes right out and starts recruiting, and it starts all over again.
Yeah, it's a big business. I mean, it's come to at a point you see these college kids are all so big. I mean, these linemen are the 6'8", 330s of these some of these teams.
Yeah, and there's hundreds of them.
It's incredible. Yeah,
every team's got 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah. Some of the lines are bigger than the pro lines.
Yeah,
it's just
and the pro line has kind of changed. I think. I mean, years ago you had those 340-pound guys. Now you're looking for that 280-pound guy who's also fast, which is just frightening to me. You got a guy that's that heavy and as fast as they are. Defensive ends, that sort of thing.
It's interesting the way they in that weight room. I mean, the nutrition and the training facilities and the equipment that they have to train and get better are just state of the art now. And all these facilities in Alabama, they have the top rated stuff in the world. I mean, and they get these trainers that monitor everything. These guys monitor everything from your heartbeat to your adrenaline, everything.
Every calorie that goes in, every class that you go to. That's not fitness, but
it's such a big business now that it's just a different world now. I really like to want to I'm not being a wise guy, but how many guys actually do go to class though? Are actually college students, I know during football they take like nine credits. They take 3 courses just to be eligible. And then they'll make it up in the summer, something like that. But I mean, how many guys actually do attend class and are students? That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean
legit, legit go to class.
If they, according with the NCAA, if you can't have successive semesters where you're flunking out. A place like Alabama, they got a guy posted outside of every classroom. Joe's supposed to go to chemistry 202. His shadow is there watching Joe walk into the classroom.
The thing about Alabama, they never really get in trouble. Those guys, never really see any of them get in trouble for anything, which is probably to your point where they're so moderate and scrutinized that they, it's hard for them.
I mean, if you got a guy making sure you're going to class every time you go to class, there's probably either the same guy or another guy.
Whereas Florida was different when Aaron Hernandez was playing. I'm actually reading a book on him, and down there in Gainesville, you were a god if you played for Florida. You don't pay for anything. Go wherever you want, do whatever you want, nightclubs, food, anything. And they said you walk around like you were just king of the hill, and you were. All the places, the whole town revolved around, and they knew that all the money that they made was due to University of Florida athletes, and they said those guys were just like do whatever they want, and that was at a time. And then guys like Urban Meyer would just kind of sit back and go, I don't want to know about it. And they have those
plausible deniability. I don't know.
Don't tell me anything.
And I think the smaller the town, the scarier it is. But no matter how big or small the University of Alabama is, the University of Alabama football program makes a huge amount of money.
Sure do.
To the point where you can have all the other non-revenue sports sucking that profit up, and they still come out with millions of dollars ahead.
They raise so much money, and especially if they go to championship every year, like 4 of the last. Clemson or Alabama's won 4 of the last 4 championships, right? Because it was Alabama last year, Clemson the year before, and Alabama, and then the year before that was Ohio State, I think.
I think you're right.
So I mean, they've won 4 of the last. They've been in there 4 in a row.
4 straight years. And that's big money.
Big money. Now the NFL, there's 8 coaching vacancies in the NFL, either due to firings or resignations or coaching changes during the season.
Interim. You got your resume dusted off? You gonna put your name in for a couple of
Not
these?
Football, but but there was that's 25% of the league's coaches. Down to 32. I mean, that's the highest I think it's ever been at this point. I call it Black Monday when all those guys get fired in the season. It's like
the Jets didn't wait until Monday.
Yeah.
I don't think the showers were turned on before.
But Bowles is unbelievable. I mean, he seems to have a lot of respect among the NFL players and whatnot. But the guy is just so mundane and emotional. It's just it's amazing that he could actually be a coach with that kind of. I don't know how he is on the field. I don't know how he is teaching kids.
I think based on the fact that he's worked in the league all these years, he certainly has the football IQ.
Yeah.
But some people are not cut out to be head coaches, and I think that's the case with Bowles.
Janae Coakley on SNY interviewed him before the last game. She says to him, "What do you think about the season?" He goes, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "Well, what do you think? What's successful?" Because he goes, "We are what our record is." What?
Yeah.
It sounds so stupid. Instead of saying, "Well, I think we did some good things." Sam Darnold's a franchise quarterback. We're looking for the future. He's just like, "Well, our record's our record." I mean, it was just like.
Yeah. I guess in his defense at that point, what do you say?
Yeah.
4 wins is not a successful season.
He's not a likable guy, I guess is my point.
You're right. Yeah.
You don't root for him. You don't want to run through a wall for the guy. I mean, Whereas
I've said it before. Like when the first game of the season when they played the Lions, they looked exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense was flying all over the field, this, that, and the other thing. And as the season went on, and it wasn't Bowles' first season, but as the season went on, they kind of adopted
like him
that mentality of it's a business. We're going to go through the motions. We're going to. Yeah, we won 4 games. I mean,
now here's
the good news is they only won 4 games.
What do they get, the third or fourth pick, I think?
I haven't looked, but
they're in top 5.
High,
I think, yeah. Now, here's another name that where do you think he's going to go? Because I know he's going to go in one of these 8 spots as head coach. Sexy Rexy Ryan.
You think Ryan's going to come back?
I bet you he gets one of these spots.
Okay.
He wanted to go to Miami.
I was just going to say, so I'm looking at the 8 teams, which, by the way, are Green Bay, Jets, Tampa Bay, Denver, Arizona, Miami, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Cleveland we'll talk about in a minute. Of those 8, I mean, Rex, Arizona or Miami.
Yeah, so he was looking at it. So he was pining for the job.
Yeah.
And
he could interview every Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple interviews are already in the works.
Starting,
Yeah. Josh McDaniel is going to get interviewed by the Packers at the end of the week.
Does he go there? If offered.
So here, my take on it, I see McDaniel as being the eventual replacement to Belichick.
Yep.
Does he leave New England, go to Green Bay for 3, 4, 5 years?
Come back.
I don't know how long Belichick has to go. Does Belichick leave when Brady leaves?
Right. That's what I think is going to happen.
You think so? They leave at the same time?
They will ride the sunset together. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because
my only thought on that was that whole thing that came out in the spring was Belichick had Garofalo, and that was going to be the his.
Yeah.
I'm leaving you in good hands. Now they don't have Garofalo.
How old is Belichick now? Was he 65?
Yeah, probably
60 around there.
Yeah.
So I mean, at some point,
Yeah. So my only thought of him not leaving with Brady, when Garofalo was there, I think that was the plan.
Yep.
Then Garofalo gets traded to the Niners. Now, if Brady leaves, does Belichick feel like, well, if I leave now, they're decimated? And does he maybe stay a couple of years to try to get him into the next generation?
Well, I think a couple points there. Once you've had extreme success like he's had every year, and every year they're in the hot, every year they're in the playoffs, every year, and all of a sudden you don't have that maybe because you don't have a franchise quarterbacks. You know how hard that is to adjust?
Yeah.
Especially in the late 60s, you're just like, I can't. Yeah. I don't have that eye of the tiger anymore. I think that's what happens often.
By the same token, I mean, he's got a system in there that it seems to me you could and again, I'm not saying Brady's not a great quarterback, one of the greatest that we've seen, but in that system, I think you can get somebody to maybe not be as good as Brady, but plug him in.
It's tough, yeah.
Matt Castle won, 10 games?
He was 12-4 or something like that, or more than that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did pretty well. I mean,
Garofalo won 2 games. We'll
see how he pans out as a Niner in the next few years. I mean, coming back from injury.
Yeah, but I think so. To answer your question, I think maybe McDaniel does go to Green Bay, but I think it's going to be McDaniel's not going to make that decision on his own. I think Belichick's involved in that conversation. Yeah. Kraft is involved in that conversation because I think McDaniel has a home in New England if he wants it.
Right.
And if he feels like going over to Green Bay for a few years is going to sacrifice or jeopardize that, I don't know that he goes.
I mean, the thing is, I think he's got to be able to relate and handle and work with, obviously, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, and who's from what I understand, is not he just got to work because he's brilliant. You know,
I mean, it's not a great situation in Green Bay with the expectations that Green Bay has.
Yep.
You know, I mean, McCarthy's getting killed. He only won one Super Bowl. But you won a Super Bowl. You know, for the rest of his life, he's a Super Bowl winning head coach.
Right.
You're walking into a situation where all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers, who was, like stainless steel, nobody had anything against him. He's really coming under fire now.
Yeah.
So does McDaniel want to go into that situation and face that type of thing? Maybe he does.
I think his thought process, I'm going to go work with, besides Brady, maybe arguably the best quarterback in the NFL.
In the league, yeah.
Maybe it's one that's ever played. So he's going from one great situation to even a greater situation in theory. And then he's going to have to surround himself with better players, obviously.
Yeah.
To do well. I mean, they got Devontae Adams back. They got Jimmy Graham. They got some players. The running back. They got. Adams. They've got good guys. It's just a matter of then. I don't know how old his kids are and stuff. I mean, do you take your kids and you go to live in Green Bay for 3 years? Are they junior high school kids? Do they leave them where they are now?
Fair point. Are you moving your kid in junior high school and then you're going to move them again in high school?
Right.
Maybe that's
or do you
not
move
fair.
them now before they get to high school? Is that a good time? And you finish up high school out that way?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's and what does the wife want to do, too? What does the family want to do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, those are all factors. I think he can pick and choose where he wants to go, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think the fan base in Green Bay is a great fan base to coach for because all they want is to win, and the Packers are everything out there.
Yeah.
And that's what you want as a coach. I think you want the support that you have. As long as you do well, and McCarthy got good support out there. I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, I think he's a good coach. I mean,
listening to the talking heads, and I guess we're talking heads now. A lot of the knock on McCarthy was
you're a hatless head today.
Hatless head,
That's right.
First time this year.
Handsome
First
guy
time
you
ever,
are.
I think.
Handsomer than me.
A lot of the shots on McCarthy is, the same system, old system, hasn't updated, things like that.
Yeah.
If he's going to make a move, I'm assuming he's going to get hired. I mean, let's be honest.
Whatever he wants.
Does he revamp, his system, if you will?
Yeah.
And maybe it's time.
Yeah.
I'd love him to go to the Jets.
Yeah.
As a Jet fan,
I would too.
Here's a guy who, he and Rodgers, obviously, as it ended, I don't think it ended great between the two of them.
Yeah.
But he was there as Rodgers
they both needed change,
took his
I think.
first snaps, became an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
That kind of leadership for Sam Darnold, I think, would be great.
Yeah. And now you got. I think Rex Ryan goes to Dolphins. I could see that.
You think Dolphins? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where he goes. Then you've got Broncos, which they gave up. That guy only had 1 year over there. What's his name? Was it Anthony Lynn or is he?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. He had 1 year. I mean, they got Case Keenum.
Yeah.
Then you got the other side of the coin where you pay Kirk Cousins all that money to go to Minnesota, and actually Keenum had a better year than Cousins did last year with a fraction of money.
Vance Joseph.
Vance Joseph, that's right. Anthony Lynn's in the Chargers.
Yep.
So Broncos' job is open. Tampa Bay's job is open you got Winston there, and you got Fitzmagic. You got the Browns with Baker, and they got a lot of good young talent.
Tell me about it. So Greg Williams is the interim.
Yeah.
They went 7-6-1.
Yeah, they're 7-8, 7-8-1.
7-8-1.
They ended up 7-8-1, but yeah.
Now it doesn't sound fantastic, but if you're the Cleveland Browns, that's you're coming off 0-16s, 2-14s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I think maybe
it depends
you don't shake it up.
Depends how they want to evaluate that position.
Yeah.
Do they think he's the man that can lead them totally, or is he just a good defensive coach?
Yeah.
Or does he have so much talent that he just kind of wrote it out? And he's got a franchise quarterback in Mayfield, I think.
Oh,
a
he
lot
does.
of good players.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
sure.
So was it him? Was it the team? Was it a combination? And I think what they go to is who does Mayfield want?
Yeah.
I think that's why they got rid of Hugh Jackson. I don't think Mayfield thought Jackson was helping him.
I'll never be comfortable with that.
It's tough.
We're not going to talk about the NBA right now, but the NBA, it happens a lot in the NBA where the star player, is hired and firing coaches.
In this day and age, people are so impatient and they want everything yesterday. And you get 1 year. You go in as a head coach in the NFL. You have 1 year and you have an average quarterback. You're probably not going to win any games. You maybe you're lucky to get 500. Right. And they feel, he stinks. You don't know what he's doing and that. And then, Like look what's happening in Pittsburgh with all the drama they're having with Mike Tomlin's been there. They've only had 3 head coaches in like 40 years.
Yeah.
And Tomlin's considered a good coach, and he's having trouble handling all this drama. So
that could be the next New York Jet right there. New target for Sam Darnold.
AB,
Antonio Brown.
Yeah. And they get Le'Veon Bell, get those two. Wow. Watch out.
It'd be like daytime TV.
Mike McCarthy coaching that team.
What a soap opera.
That might be good to watch. That'd be a good watch. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you got what else we got there? Cincinnati, that place. At least they finally got rid of Marvin Lewis. God, that guy was.
Marvin Lewis retired, stepped down.
They parted ways, which whatever that means. Yeah,
Blah.
I think he had enough of that.
Yeah.
That place was God. And they're never going to go anywhere, in my opinion, with Andy Dalton as a quarterback.
Yeah.
The guy is dead on average. He's not going to take you to the promised land.
So Lewis, for his career there, he was there for 15 years.
15 years. Yeah.
131 and 122 and 3. So he tied 3 games. And had a winning record.
No playoff wins.
The bagel in the
playoffs.
In the playoffs.
That's the big thing. Yeah.
You got to figure a couple of those years. It's a wild card team that you know.
Plus, they got a tough
able to
division.
skate
They always got the Ravens and the Steelers in their division.
Yeah.
All the time.
So getting to the playoffs is impressive.
I mean,
but
it's always a battle.
But 0-7.
And now the Browns are coming on, so they've got.
It's not getting any better.
They've got those 4 teams. It's just tough to make the playoffs out of that. To get a wild card out of that. Now Teddy Bridgewater played on this past Sunday. They sat Drew Brees, former Jet, and I think he was kind of auditioning, to be signed by somebody, and he had a terrible game. The guy hadn't played all year, and this last game of the year.
Yep. Maybe he should have sat out like a college kid at a bowl
game.
I
guess he figures that he wanted to see if he still had it.
I mean, there's certainly a job for him. Is there a starting job for him? No, I don't think so. But if Mark Sanchez has a job, then Teddy Bridgewater.
He's got a chance to compete somewhere because he's so young. Still, he's only like 25 years old. I mean, he hasn't really. He's still got a long way to go. But that's an interesting situation with him.
Yeah.
Now, what else we got here?
So you got the playoffs coming up. You got 4 games this coming weekend. You got Colts Texans rather. Who do you like?
I had Colts.
You like the Colts?
I do.
Okay.
They won 8-9. The only loss they had was a 6-0 shutout to Jacksonville. One of those days.
Yeah. Yep. Chargers Ravens.
Let's finish with the Colts there.
Oh, okay.
I got more to talk about. Andrew Luck is comeback player of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Been playing fantastic.
Yep.
He had a great game against the Titans to win that game to go to the playoffs on Sunday night, and he made one mistake, threw the ball up for grabs, and they got a pick 6. But other than that, I like the way the Colts play. They play hard. They got Marlon Mack's good running back. Defense is very good. They got Vinatieri, a great kicker. I mean, they're scary.
Yeah.
And I'm not, Houston. It's a tough game. And then the winner of that, if the Colts win that, they would go to play Chiefs. I think.
Yeah.
Chiefs number 1.
Yeah, Chiefs number 1. Patriots beating the tough New York Jets with a little bit of help got the second spot. They didn't have the second spot locked up until a couple things had to happen on Sunday.
Because the lowest seed that's remaining goes
to Kansas City.
Goes to Kansas City. Yeah. Right.
So the Colts win. They go to Kansas City.
Kansas City, yeah.
And then if the Colts,
and then
the other 3 teams would all go.
They got Chargers, Ravens. The winner of that game goes to
New England. Yeah. So the Patriots, despite for the Patriots having a bad year, do get a bye, do have home field advantage at least for the first round.
So in theory, now the Ravens could go to New England, and they're not intimidated by New England at all up there.
No,
so
not at all.
That's a war for them.
Yeah.
All right. That's
now being a Jet fan, I'd kind of like to see that happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. My story this year is I love seeing the Chargers playing well again. So I'd kind of want to see the Chargers go through.
Chargers kind of get screwed here because they play 1 o'clock on Sunday. And they're from the West Coast, obviously. And so, I mean, they're used to playing later games. I don't know how much does that affect them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
and they fly to Baltimore on Thursday or something. Take a couple extra days, get comfortable with it, get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And now,
weather could certainly be an issue. I mean, the Chargers are still a West Coast, Southern California team.
Always, yeah.
Although I spent some time down in the Commonwealth of Virginia over the holidays.
Nice.
It was beautiful. 50, 55, 60 degrees.
Well,
fantastic.
pretty good.
I should have brought my clubs.
Now the NFC,
Yep.
you've got Seattle at Cowboys. Tough game. Tough game. I wouldn't be surprised. Seattle's kind of annoying to play. They run the ball, kind of conservative, play really solid defense, and kind of control the clock a little bit. So
I think
it's a tough one.
That of the 4 games this week, unless there's horrible weather in Baltimore, the Baltimore Charger game, I think home field, Seattle not having home field is the biggest. The biggest of the other 4.
Yeah, big difference.
Assuming weather's not an issue.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the other side, you got Philadelphia, Chicago. Who cares about bad weather there? They're both bad weather teams.
Well, I think in the Cowboy game that this is the biggest test for Dak Prescott.
Oh yeah.
Ever. Because I mean, okay, you're obviously been chosen as a franchise quarterback for the Cowboys. Can you win this playoff game? A winnable game against Seattle. You should be able to beat that.
Yep. At home.
At home. Yep. And I think that's one of the reasons why he played the whole game against the Giants this past week. Just to stay tuned.
More reps.
More reps.
Yep.
Stay.
Maybe a little bit of putting in a game plan that they're gonna use. Yeah.
Now the Giant game was interesting. The Cowboy game, the Cowboys beat them on a 4th down pass to Cole Beasley in the end zone, and Beasley caught the ball and put a knee on the ground and went out of bounds in the back of the end zone. But now I didn't even realize that 1 knee equals 2 feet. Did you know that?
Really?
You don't need 2 feet. Is your knee?
You
get a knee in there, it goes 2 feet.
What's a shoulder? Is a shoulder 2 feet too? I think it is.
I don't know about that.
I think if you make that catch, boom, this hits the ground and your feet go out of bounds. I think that still counts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember that old John Madden saying, 1 knee equals 2 feet. that was the title of his book.
John Madden's still alive?
I don't think he
Dead or alive? John Madden.
Is he?
I don't know.
I think he passed.
Did he?
I think so. Yeah.
We'll have that. Yeah. We'll have that for you next show.
Yeah.
that'll be Joe's homework.
Like now, the other game, Eagles at the Rams.
Eagles at the Bears. At the Bears.
Yeah.
The
Now
Bears.
that game was interesting because the Bears beat the Vikings this past Sunday, and if Vikings would have beat the Bears, they would have played them again.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Sometimes, every once in a while, you see that happen. Yep.
So the philosophy being is that some people thought the Bears would lay down second half and let the Vikings win it. Now, a couple thoughts there. I think they would have split during the regular season, and it's tough to play a team 3 times in a year.
It's tough to play them 3 times. It's tougher to beat them 3 times.
Beat them 3 times, yeah. And so I guess they preferred to play the Eagles, obviously. Eagles, playing pretty well with Nick Foles. Foles got hurt in their game over the weekend, but just bruised ribs, so he should be okay to play.
Wentz is out?
Wentz is. They're not really saying anything as far as if they win, if the Eagles were to upset the Bears, there is a chance that I think Wentz could.
Because that would be
play. I don't know if they would.
3 weeks? When did he go out? Was it week 15 or game 15?
This is a game. I think Foles played 3 games, so yeah.
Okay, all right. So so that might give Wentz.
I think he
5
can.
or 6
I think
weeks.
he can play without a career-ending injury. I don't think he can get
Okay,
hurt.
so he's not risking his career.
You can
by
live
play.
with. I think. Yeah, it's a vertebrae. So, I don't think they would stay with Foles. I think, but I think they could have him as a backup. I mean, Suffield had to come in their game this past Sunday to a touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And Dak.
Next man up.
Now Bears defensively are going to be nasty this time of year with the weather and the cold.
Yeah.
That defense is legit.
I mean, there's certainly teams this Saturday, Sunday that are praying for bad weather.
Some people really think the Bears could, are the best team in the NFC, really. So now, Eagles win, they would go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the end of that.
Right. That's the end of that. And then you've got Seattle and Cowboys. If the winner of that game goes to the Rams.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and the Rams' great record. They're not quite as unbeatable as maybe they were back in say week 5, 6, 7.
And one of the things about the Rams is that I don't think they have a heck of a home field advantage as other teams do. Because
I would say the same. If the Chargers end up going home, it's the same
thing. Yeah, I mean, and the West Coast out there, it seemed like everyone's from everywhere, and I saw when they played the Eagles, it seemed like the Eagles were home. The way the fans were cheering for the Eagles a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I mean that's but obviously
what I think it is. I think the better the weather, the worst of fan base.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, L.A., San Diego San Diego football, I think, would be would fly against that. But L.A. has never been able to support a team. I was with my sister down in Virginia over the weekend. She happened to go to a Miami Red Sox game, you know, it was opening day at Marlins Stadium. It was 80% Red Sox fans.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the home team just doesn't.
8,000 people probably too. Right?
Yeah, 7,500 of which
exactly.
were.
yeah, exactly. Now so two teams play on 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday.
Yeah, kind of late-ish on Saturday our time. So you got like a 4 and 8, I think it is, and then a 1 and a 4.
Yeah, Colts are on Saturday, and then the Eagles Bears are on late Saturday.
Yeah. So you like the Cowboys?
I do not.
You do not. You like Seattle winning on the road.
Seattle grinds it out.
Okay, on the road.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson does something magical.
Okay.
And they win it close with 17-14.
Okay, you like the Bears?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Yeah, even though the Eagles been very impressive the last few weeks coming down and making the playoffs from where they came from.
Yeah, you know, how long can you keep that streak going?
Yeah, Bears defensively are just too tough. Like I said, the bad weather at home, that's a tough task to actually have the Eagles come through. I mean, Foles is going to have to be out of his mind that game. And I think...
By the way, no weather in Chicago this weekend. It's going to be about 50 degrees and sunny.
Not bad. Okay.
So that
I think the
maybe helps the Eagles?
I think the Chargers beat the Ravens. I really do. That's mean that next. I think I think Lamar Jackson gets exposed this weekend.
So you're picking 3 out of 4 road teams. You sure about this, Joe?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
You heard it here first.
Locks. Yeah.
Lock it down. 3 out of 4 road teams gonna win this weekend.
Yeah. What do you think?
I like Texans.
Okay.
Emotionally, I'm going to pick the Chargers. I think intellectually, I'd pick the Ravens.
Okay.
I like the Bears, and I think Prescott has a good game, and I think
finally wins one.
Being out of Seattle, I think is a huge detriment for Seattle.
That's 3 to 5 points.
The 12th man and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
We've got let's see.
Who do you think wins the whole thing? Based on what you just said.
I kind of like the Saints. I think Saints versus Chargers.
Saints being home, huge for them.
Yeah. Saints Chargers.
Yeah.
Chiefs beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship. How's that?
Okay.
I'm going chalk on that one.
I think if the Ravens win, they beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
And if the Chargers win, I think the Patriots beat the Chargers.
Yep.
How's that?
Which would set up, I would think, Chiefs Patriots AFC Championship in Kansas City. Talk about a great home fan base.
Kansas City wins that.
Crazy, yeah. I just don't think the Patriots get
so
there. So
basically, Kansas City and the Chiefs are 2 favorites. Looking at.
I say Chiefs Saints in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 53.
Rams Saints would be good.
That'd be good TV.
Good semifinal. Yeah.
Good TV. I'd watch that.
Chiefs Pats and then Saints Rams. That'd be
a great Sunday.
That'd be a good weekend. Yeah.
Might have to come over. I'll cook.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll bring a pizza. Now, the Yankees signed Troy Tulowitzki. Let's jump to baseball real quick.
Okay.
Which I hope means they don't get Manny Machado. I don't want them to get him.
I don't. I mean, you had your no Machado.
Don't like the guy.
I don't see him as a Yankee.
No, I don't either.
You know, and again, I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Yankee fan, but the Yankees have a culture.
Yep.
And the culture is bigger than the player there, and I don't necessarily see, with the exception of Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, but why would you take another huge contract on? You already have Stanton's contract. You got 9 years left at $300 million, whatever the heck it is, and then you're going to give Machado similar to that.
Yeah.
So you got 2 of those guys. You still got Ellsbury at $22 million. I mean, you got millions and millions. You got what, $66 million tied up in 3 guys, and you got Aaron Judge making what, $5 million.
And once he's
got another year or 2, I think, before he.
So if he's got 2 years, and sometime this year they'll probably
Sanchez
towards the end of the season.
And Didi, all those guys have big contracts coming up.
They'll lock Judge up for.
Yeah, so I don't think they sign Machado because if they do, because they've got to decide they want to keep Judge and all those other guys, and they're going to want big money. Sanchez, Yeah, or they have to get rid of Sanchez now, I think, before he gets to that point where they have to sign him and lock him up.
Yeah.
So I 95%, there's no way to get Machado. I don't think they would do that.
Yeah.
I think Machado goes either to the White Sox or the Phillies. He wants the money. I mean, come on. I mean,
That's all he is.
Who he kidding? That's all he's about.
Left Baltimore to go to LA. Yeah.
That's the only reason why he went to the Dodgers, because he knew that everyone would see him. He had a chance to beat a World Series, and he's kind of screwed that up with his lack of hustle. But I think Bryce Harper. I think one goes to the White Sox. If I had to make a call, I would say Machado goes to the White Sox, stays in the American League, and I think Harper goes to the Phillies to stay in the National League. I think
Harper in that bandbox could put up some pretty scary numbers.
Phillies would be a good team, and they're being the Mets division, so it'd be tough out there.
Yeah, I mean the Mets have done great things. They've got a few more moves to make, but
I mean they got Philly and the Nationals and
Atlanta.
Tough,
but
Atlanta's a good up and coming young team too. I mean that's a tough division.
Yeah.
For them to play.
I would agree. Atlanta's up and coming.
Yeah,
Phillies are gonna they're gonna buy a team, and the Nationals have done a great job.
The Nationals still have Scherzer. They still have what's his name? They signed not Paxton, the other guy. They've got they're pitching. They got Anibal Sanchez. They signed. I mean they've got some really good weapons. So I mean they're tough team. Mets. I think the Mets stay pat the rest of the year. I don't think they had too much of anything else.
They're going to be a little bit. I think they're still going to pick up an outfielder. I think they're going to have to go on the assumption that Cespedes does not.
Because they signed. Because they got Rajay Davis in their minors. They got somebody else in the minors that was a former guy. So they've got some guys down below.
Yeah.
That might be.
How much time we got, Joe?
Well, 2 minutes.
Is that all we got? It's 2 minutes?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm going to spend 1 minute and 30 seconds talking about today's January 2nd. January 2nd means that all the new rules of golf, and I know that you're on the edge of your seat, bunch of new rules in golf this year. Okay, so settle down. Okay. Whew. All right. I mean, I have a list here of 20, so I'll go to some big ones here. If you move your golf ball by accident anywhere on the golf course, no big deal. Just move it back, no problem.
That's a new rule?
New rule.
Instead of losing a stroke or something?
Instead of stroke penalty and then replacing the ball. So
right, I get it.
It makes sense. One of the things like this would happen, you and I are playing golf together, and I hit the ball into a bunch of leaves. Okay. Last week, 2 days ago, we go looking for my golf ball.
Yeah.
I kick it by mistake. I get penalized.
Okay.
You kick my ball by mistake, no big deal. Seems kind of silly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well now they fixed that. So if I kick my ball by mistake, I say, oh geez, Joe, I just kicked my ball. You come over and say,
that's how far you kick it.
No big deal. So we agree, okay, it would have been here, and we put it back. So it's kind of common sense. You can only look for a golf ball for 3 minutes now instead of 5.
Okay, who times that? Yourself?
Yourself.
There you go.
The guy you're playing with. Okay. When does the search start? The search starts when the player and or the caddy arrive at the area. So on these PGA Tour events, that's why there's never a lost ball. Guy hits it 300 and something yards off the tee. It's going to take him a couple minutes to get there.
Okay.
Well, until he gets there, the clock doesn't start. But all these other people are there looking for it, so they almost always find it.
Okay.
Dropping the ball. Well, back in the old days, you used to drop behind your back. Then you dropped it over here. Now you're dropping it from knee height. Just to make it a little bit more likely that the ball stays where it needs to stay.
What makes it okay to drop a ball?
Well, you can be dropping a ball without a penalty if your ball is on a cart path or something like that, an obstruction. Or in a penalty situation, you hit the ball into a penalty area or something like that. It's an unplayable, anything like that. So you pick the ball up, you drop it. By dropping it from your knee, it's less likely that the ball is going to bound too far and go outside of the area that it needs to stay. The flag stick can stay in when you're putting now. I know this is all exciting stuff. You should be writing this down, Joe.
They can stay in.
So as of
did that help you?
2 days ago? Yeah, the research on it is that like these short putts, you got a better chance with the flag stick being
like a bank shot in basketball.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Interesting.
Most of the rules were
the ball hits the stick, it'll go in. I mean, it could bounce out.
It could bounce out if it's going way too fast. Okay. And if it's going that fast,
okay.
No, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. Most of the rules though are to make it more common sense.
Okay.
And to speed the game up a little bit.
Good idea.
The one thing that they didn't get right you can fix anything on the putting green now. Any spike mark, any blemish, anything else, which you and I are out playing golf, whatever. There's a spike mark, I tap it down and go ahead and putt. On the PGA Tour, at the high level, European Tour, PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, these guys and gals, they might be taking forever, just fixing every spot they can.
All right.
All right.
Alabama, Clemson.
Alabama, Clemson, I like Alabama.
I got Clemson.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.